Hi, everyone. I'd like to preface by saying Matt did a big dum-dum, and that's why we're 2 minutes late.
I was not that big of a dum-dum.
Dum-dum, wonk, gum-gum.
Dum-dum, da dum-dum. Wasn't that bad.
2 minutes late punctuality, Matt. You get fired.
I think I'll be fine. It's okay. Anyways, you're tuning into Fitchburg State Radio, WXPL 91.3, Fitchburg State Radio. And we are Sidereel. I'm Matt.
I'm Matt.
And you're here to celebrate the greatest holiday ever.
Scoobtober.
Scoobtober. Are you okay?
Yeah, I'm pretty good.
All right, cool. So here on Scoobtober, we are reviewing every Scooby-Doo movie ever.
Not gonna lie, didn't think there was this many Scooby-Doo movies.
That's animated. Let me make that very clear. We're skipping the puppet one and the live-action one.
I'm gonna come in and do the live-action one.
When are you gonna do that?
I have tons of free time, Matt.
Ah, yes. Now,
I'll take 5 minutes from playing Destiny 2 and come in and talk.
Matt, you'll never stop playing Destiny 2.
No one can stop me.
I will. Anyways, up first, Matt, I have to give a shout out. You remember when you did a shout out?
Yeah.
It's my turn. And I'm going to give a shout out to my little sister Sydney. It's her birthday today.
Happy birthday, Australia.
That's the country, not the person.
Oh.
Wrong thing, Matt.
Dang.
But Sydney is I really hope I'm getting the age right. 9. She makes me feel really old. She might be 8.
It's when you find out she's like 7.
No, she's 9. I think she was born in 2010. I feel this is my.
You think?
This is my old age coming into play here.
Old age? You're younger than me.
Matt, I'm old.
Yeah, we're all old.
I know.
I wake up every morning and my back cracks like a Rice Krispie treat.
Wow.
Snap, crackle, pop.
Woo. I don't like that. That's rough.
Well, you gave a shout out, so I'm going to give a shout out as I do every week. Hi, Mom. You're our most dedicated listener.
And I will also say hi, Mommy.
If I could, no. if I could send you a medal, I would, because you listen every week. So
my mother said she is 9. I was correct the first time.
Your mom's 9?
My sister is 9.
Oh.
My mother and sister are listening. Now, that is done.
Welcome to the comedy cast.
Happy birthday, Sydney. I wish you watched Scooby-Doo.
Happy, very good birthday.
Yes.
And I hope you watched the live-action Scooby-Doos.
No, she did. That's the sad part. She doesn't watch the animated ones. Do you see why my feelings get hurt?
The animated ones are garbage.
And then she makes fun of me for watching cartoons, and I get smack talked by a 9-year-old. So that's my life. Kind of sucks.
You're getting owned, man.
I know.
You're getting owned.
But, Matt, it's time for our first review of the night. Are you ready?
I'm ready. As ready as I'll ever be.
Segueing off my sister Sydney, it's time to move on over to Sydney, Australia for Scooby-Doo, Legend of the Vampire.
There's a part of me that just wants to believe that your sister's birthday isn't actually today and you just wanted to make that really good transition.
I know it kind of worked out, but it is her birthday today.
Okay.
Yep, still remember, I had to leave middle school halfway through the day because I wasn't allowed to skip the whole day for some reason.
Really?
And my crazy aunt had to come pick me up.
I could probably count the amount of times I skipped school. Actually, not skip, but more like miss just because I'm sick on like one hand.
Well, whatever. It's okay.
Then I came to college.
Yes, so Scooby-Doo and the Legend of the Vampire finds the gang going all the way over to good old Australia to just explore the local culture and cities and whatnot, and then they find a poster for this cool rock concert called, I don't remember what it was called, but it's...
Fright Fest 2019.
No, you know what it was? It was the Vampire Rock Festival.
A very bad name now that I think
because
about
it is a rock festival being held at Vampire Rock. Even though, fun fact, Australia has no native vampire mythology. So,
absolutely no mythos of any vampires ever.
So this movie is culturally inaccurate. Should we call it racist, Matt? Is Scooby-Doo racist?
I wouldn't say racist. I'd just say culturally insensitive.
Yes. As it should be noted, Scooby-Doo is officially racist now.
Every Scooby-Doo movie now has to be deemed racist.
When will the internet ruin this, Matt?
I don't know, but we also found out that like every major movie studio ever copies Scooby-Doo. So
that is also true.
We'll get to that later, though, as we talk about these movies. Yes, we will get to that
later. Anyways,
Marvel, we know your secrets.
The gang travel all the way up to Vampire Rock, where they discover that some of the bands have been going missing because this gigantic vampire god known as the Yowie Yahoo has been kidnapping them because they've been invading his sacred grounds. And his minions are a band known as Wild Wind, who was the first victims he ever kidnapped.
A play on AC/DC.
Yes, and they are now vampire versions of themselves with altered colors and whatnot, because, that's totally how that works. Pushing a button.
Spry costumes and
yes.
lederhosen.
And when the gang arrive, they meet the curator of the festival, Daniel Illawarra. And Daniel, who is voiced by the amazing Phil Lamar, teams up with the gang to solve the mystery. And along the way, the gang run into participants in the festival, including the Bad Omens and their good old pals, the Hex Girls.
Not limited to the wonderful Hex Girls, who have undergone a very drastic design change.
Yes, they did.
Specifically, one of which pulled what I'm going to phrase as a Michael Jackson.
Yes, Dusk had a bit of a Michael Jackson incident where her skin color went from a darker complexion to white.
To literally, I've been living in a basement for the last 10 years white.
So, good on the people that drew her. Now,
that's what we call sticking to form.
Things take a turn for the worse when the Scooby Gang is forced to enter the competition as those meddling kids to find out if any of the bands are causing these kidnappings. Of course, it doesn't help when all the bands quit or get kidnapped. So then it's just the Scooby Gang. So then they're like, oh, crud. Where's the mystery going to take us next? So they end up going up to Vampire Rock to solve the mystery. And up there, they discover the Whirlwind?
What?
Wild Wind. The Wild Wind vampires and the Yowie Yahoo and their lair. And there the Scooby Gang find the missing pieces to the mystery and solve the mystery by capturing the vampires and destroying the Yowie Yahoo.
Specifically, they find out that it was a fog machine and holograms the entire time.
Yes, it was.
Combined with some very interesting practical effects.
Of course. And what ended up happening was, turns out the Wild Wind vampires were just Wild Wind all along, who staged their own kidnapping and disappearance in order to make a huge comeback at this year's concert. Because that makes complete and utter sense in the music industry, I'm sure. So,
well, with 5 more movies to go, Matt, what's your Scooby Snack rating?
Ooh, we're not done yet, Matt. We got to get even deeper into this.
What, the lore?
Oh, the lore?
The lore of Scooby-Doo?
I was saying the production of the film.
The lore.
The film sees a new era of Scooby-Doo films, this and the next one being the only 2 of it. But following Cyberchase, Legend of the Vampire features a drastic shift in animation and character design.
It's very jarring, actually, if you're not ready for it.
Oh, yeah. Specifically, the character designs are different, and they go back to their original costumes from the original show, Scooby-Doo, Where Are You? But on top of that, it uses a new color palette, specifically the color palette of What's New Scooby-Doo, the Scooby-Doo show that aired during the early to mid-2000s.
What's New Scooby-Doo?
Did you like my rendition?
Yep, beautiful.
Thank you.
Put it on YouTube.
Yes. Now, the gang in this new design are slightly different from their show counterparts, but that's okay. It's still very, very nice to look at, except for the Hex Girls, who sort of had a downgrade in this case.
Oh, it was so bad. The Hex Girls were like, I was hyped because you told me that they were going to be in it, and then it ended up. So in the original movie, they ended up doing this cool thing with like shading, where they, matched people's hair to their like dress color. I don't know. It was a whole design choice, and it looked really good. In this one, they're kind of just a bunch of white girls with black hair. And,
yeah, basically. And it is a downgrade for them, but everybody else,
they're also in it for like 5 seconds. So I mean,
until they get kidnapped and barely reappear later on.
Yeah, for like one end credit scene. And that's about it.
It's okay. On top of that, the film also saw a return to classic Scooby-Doo sound effects featured in the original show, as well as the music, which was recomposed and slightly altered for this movie, and is also done in the same manner for the next film. Overall, Legend of the Vampire is a very good film, if a little average, because it is a turn for the worse. It's not a bad movie, but it is definitely a step down from where we've seen Scooby-Doo in the past, like 4 years or so.
What did we give Boo Brothers?
Boo Brothers was like a 6.
No, I think it wasn't like a 4.
No, we gave Reluctant Werewolf a 4.
Oh, that's the one that was a 4. Okay, I'm gonna stick this one at the old 6.5.
Ooh, yeah. I think we actually said this one was like a 7.5. It
was around there.
Yeah. Overall, Legend of the Vampire, very good film, if not a little average, only because it didn't really do anything different per se. It also suffers from very strange plot progression and not a lot of the monsters. So overall, I'd give it a 7 out of 10 Scooby Snacks.
I give it a solid 6.
Solid 6, that's rough. 6.5 overall, I can deal with that. Moving on to actual film news. We got to keep with the actual news on Sidereel because that's what we do.
We got to intermingle actual news.
Yes. Up next, Matt, do you know who Eddie Murphy is?
Yeah, I do know who Eddie Murphy is, actually.
Have you seen Coming to America?
Yeah.
And you know
several times, actually.
Oh, it's a good movie.
What was that haunted house one he did?
The Haunted Mansion?
The Haunted Mansion? I love that
movie. Based off
movie.
the Disney World ride?
Yeah, I love The Haunted Mansion.
Yeah, it's a classic.
That was my favorite.
It's a pretty bad movie, but it is a classic.
Yeah, but...
Anyways, you know Coming to America is getting a sequel, right?
No, I didn't.
And it comes out next year with all the same cast.
That's a sudden announcement.
I mean, they've been trying to make it since the 80s, so...
I know, but it's also been like 30 years.
It's not that surprising. But have you seen his Beverly Hills Cop trilogy?
Beverly Hills Chihuahua? Yes, I have.
All 3?
Yeah.
Yeah, the only good one
Oddly,
is...
I've seen a lot of Eddie Murphy stuff without
me too.
actually, like, purposely doing it.
Now, fun fact, after Coming to America 2 is finished, Eddie Murphy's official next film is going to be Beverly Hills Cop 4.
Wow, he's just, like, going back to...
Oh, yeah. That's
what has he done in, like, the last 10 years? I don't even know.
He actually had a new movie come out on Netflix this past weekend called The Dolomite. Revenge of the Dolomite. It's like
Dolomite like a rock?
No, it's based off a true story of the guy, I forget his name, but basically he was the one that invented blaxploitation films in the 70s. But he was a black guy who basically knew that this is funny and that he can get black people attention while simultaneously showing off their issues, but making fun of them at the same time. And that's who Eddie Murphy plays. And it's apparently a very good film.
So it's like a documentary?
Biopic. So. Yeah. So that's his latest film, and a lot of people are giving him a lot of Oscar buzz around it. So, he's only ever been nominated for 1 Oscar.
The Haunted Mansion.
No, actually. Dreamgirls. He was nominated for Best Supporting Actor.
I forgot about that movie.
Yeah, Beyonce.
Beyonce was in a lot of stuff back then.
Yeah,
I always remember her in Pink Panther.
You remember? Wait, she was in Pink Panther?
Yeah.
With Steve Martin?
Yeah.
I've actually never seen that movie.
Have you not?
I
love that movie.
I've seen all the originals.
It's really stupid, but I love it.
I like how you go to Pink Panther and not Austin Powers 3 for Beyonce.
I haven't seen Austin Powers 3.
What?
No, I haven't.
Wait, you've seen Pink Panther but not Austin Powers 3?
We have Pink Panther on DVD at my house.
That's great, but you still haven't seen Austin Powers 3.
No, I haven't seen the second one either.
Jesus Christ, Matt.
Nor the first.
Yeah. What?
I've never seen an Austin Powers movie.
Are you living under a rock?
Actually, wait, that's a lie. Is Austin Powers the one with the bald guy who's like the $1 bajillion?
Yeah, Dr. Evil?
Yeah, okay, never mind. I've seen 2 of them.
Matt, I question you sometimes. You know that, right?
I watched them with Josh last year.
Okay. All right, sure. Whatever.
I like that movie. That was a good movie.
It is a good movie. They're all good. On that befuddling note, it is time for our first commercial break with songs from Scooby-Doo and the Legend of the Vampire.
The first of many.
Yes, all 3 songs. Please enjoy.
Show. This is a brief history of B&H, everyone's favorite photo and video store.
1, 2, 3, 4. Hoodoo, voodoo, we do voodoo. Hoodoo, voodoo, we do. Hoodoo, voodoo, we do voodoo. Hoodoo, voodoo, we do. We do. We do. We do. Come on! You wanna celebrate? You wanna get it straight, straight from the girls who amaze and shock you. You want some hex time? Ain't no crime. Come feel our magic. We will rock you. Hoodoo, voodoo, we do voodoo. Hoodoo, voodoo, we do. Hoodoo, voodoo, we do voodoo. Hoodoo, voodoo, we do. We do. We do. We do. Come on! Hoodoo, voodoo, we do voodoo. Hoodoo, voodoo, we do. Hoodoo, voodoo, we do voodoo.
And now, help me welcome the Meddling Kids!
Meddling kids?
Works for me.
Scooby-Dooby-Doo, where are you? We got some work to do now. Scooby-Dooby-Doo, where are you? We need some help from you now. Come on, Scooby-Doo, I see you, pretending you got silver. But you're not fooling me, 'cause I can see the way you shake and shiver. You know we got a mystery to solve, Scooby-Doo, be ready for your ride. Don't hold back. Scooby-Doo, if you come through, you're gonna have something Scooby tonight. That's okay, yeah. Scooby-Doo, you're ready and you're willing. We can count on you, Scooby-Doo. I know they will catch that feeling. I know they'll catch that feeling. I know they'll catch that
Scooby-Dooby-Doo.
Was that actually ripped just straight from the movie?
Yeah, I mean, I do what I can. It's hard to find some of these songs, Matt. Give me a break.
I'm surprised you don't have every single Scooby-Doo song on vinyl.
I wish. Matt, do you have something to say to the audience?
Yeah, I have quite a few things to say to the audience. Mainly, thank you for listening to us, and
Thank you.
for coming every week. But on top of that, I would also like to tell the viewers that any time is a perfect time for families to connect with the outdoors. Even in cities, parents can find opportunities to take their kids on adventures. From hiking and biking to ice skating and snowball fights, these experiences are so valuable. Spending time in nature gives kids a chance to move, explore, and engage in unstructured and adventurous play. Kids have lower stress levels and build stronger immune systems. By visiting discovertheforest.org, they can learn more where to connect with their nature right in their own neighborhoods.
On that note, it's
love you,
time
listeners.
to move to a slightly more depressing note, aka a review of a very controversial movie that Matt didn't see because he was lazy.
I didn't see because I didn't have money.
I offered to pay for you.
I didn't want it. I don't take charity.
What? Okay, Matt. Whatever.
Charity's for the weak.
I saw Joker. Matt was a baby. But we do what we can for this show. So it's time for a solo review and for Matt to chime in with funny jokes.
We live in a society.
That is the moral of the story. Joker follows the origin story of Arthur Fleck, who slowly becomes the Joker, and how he slowly snaps and loses more in tune with reality than he already was. Played by Joaquin Phoenix, the Joker is a very complicated character who does lots of very, very messed up things and very, very confusing things, like a lot of dance scenes for some reason. The Joker is directed by Todd Phillips, most known for films such as Road Trip, Old School, and the Hangover trilogy. Somehow he decided he wanted to make a serious comic book movie in the same vein as old Martin Scorsese films such as Taxi Driver and Raging Bull and many, many others, as well as the film One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest, which was not by Martin Scorsese, and if I'm wrong about that, I am sorry, but I don't think I am. So the film takes place in the 1970s in Gotham City, and Arthur Fleck is just kind of living his good life with his mom, not really doing what he can, but it's kind of whatever at this point. Honestly, Joker, decent film, but if you've been reading the reviews, you've probably been seeing a lot of mixed messages, and I am here to tell you that they're all on the very wide end of the spectrum, specifically meaning that the woke critics, who are calling it the most abhorrent thing ever to be created.
The most divisive movie of the year.
Yeah, and who basically hate it because it's just so edgy and pretentious and whatever. And I'm just like, it's really not. If anything, it's trying too hard to be serious because he's the Joker and he's why so serious.
Yo, I thought the trailer was hype.
It is pretty hype. Except for the fact that the film, like many DC films, doesn't live up to the trailer's hype. Specifically in the vein that, like I said, it just tries too hard and it does a lot of things with his character that are kind of like, hey, look at this guy. He's crazy. And I'm just like, I already know he's crazy because I know who the character is already. I just want to see your interpretation of him. You don't have to try so hard. And there are very specifically two things that make them try too hard. And I can't say them out loud without spoilers, but you'll kind of know them when you see them because they're kind of like, well, that was dumb. There was no point to that, to the plot whatsoever. And that's really the biggest issue with the film, is its plot. Because the thing that carries the film is Joaquin Phoenix and his acting, and that's literally it. He did a fantastic performance, and all the other characters were just completely overpowered by him and really didn't add much to the story. As good acted as the other characters were. The other issue is that the film could have taken place in any time period. The 1970s aesthetic of the world had nothing to do with the plot whatsoever. And it's so clear that it was just meant to pay homage, but it didn't add anything to the film. And because of that, it kind of just felt out of place because I didn't care enough about the aesthetic of the film. A very good thing about the film's aesthetic was its production design, though. Even though the 1970s stuff wasn't necessary, it was absolutely well done, very gorgeous, and the fantastic cinematography really, really complemented it. And otherwise, it's kind of eh. The film itself, you can live without seeing it, to be honest. It's a great film, but it's not for everyone. And that's kind of the moral of the story to Joker. It's not everybody's cup of tea, so if you don't like it, that's fine. If you love it, that's fine. But at the end of the day, it's just an okay movie that's kind of going to go one way or the other for pretty much everybody. Not much else to really say on Joker. If you want to go see it, be my guest. It has already become a record breaker this year, as it is now officially the highest opening weekend ever for an October release. Specifically, it made $97 million opening weekend, which is pretty cool. Good for it, I guess. Does it matter, Matt?
Nah, not really.
Exactly, because it's Joker. And the dumbest part of the film is that it doesn't even tie into the rest of the DC films, which in this day and age, I get that you can do a standalone film with a DC film or a Marvel film, hence films such as Guardians of the Galaxy and, I guess, Shazam are able to stand apart from the rest of their connected universe films because they don't really have much to do with them. They're kind of centrally focused on their own plot and story, with maybe a couple references and jokes to other films here and there, and that is perfectly fine. But to a film like Joker, which is completely separate and has nothing to do with everything, it just feels pointless at this point, because I expect a film that can tie into everything. I don't care if it progresses some big overarching story, but as a fan, I deserve to have it interconnected, because that is just the world we live in now. So sadly, Joker is not connected and there is no credit scene. But I still think DC will find a way to connect it and retcon everything because it's going to sell more that way. Because it makes sense since it'll then be connected to the DC universe. Otherwise, if you want to see Joker, go right ahead. If you don't, no problemo. But at the end of the day, it's up to you. Moving on. Yeah.
Oh,
What?
I want to give some unbiased thoughts.
Go right ahead.
I actually prepared something.
Oh, you did? Oh, well, you never prepare anything for the show.
Yeah, I know. This is coming from an unbiased opinion from someone who's never actually yet, obviously, to see the movie. Mm-hmm. But judging from the trailer, I wrote up a little something. Jack Nicklaus's Joker in the 80s spoke to the sheer ostentatiousness of the 80s. The color, the music, the showmanship, it was perfect for that time. Then you have the 90s Joker from Batman the Animated Series. This guy was ruthless, cunning, and hilarious. He was terrifying, and it speaks to the changes that were going on in the 90s with the birth of the internet and the changes in the darkness of music and media. Then in The Dark Knight, he was pure chaos. He was the response to the corruption and the gap between the haves and the have-nots. He was the face of all political turmoil that went down in the 2000s. The Joker of 2019, based on the trailer, seems like a good guy who had a bad day. Isn't that the famous saying of the Joker? He's a good guy who faced a cruel world and it broke him. How many of us can relate to that?
Dang, that's pretty good. Although you left 2 Jokers out.
Yeah, I know, but I mean, those are the ones I actually know about.
Oh, fair enough.
I mean,
That
yeah.
might be probably one of the better in-depth representations of the Joker in media.
Like, I know a lot of us joke about the whole, like, you know, we live in a society thing.
Mm-hmm.
But I think Joker is actually a good representation of, like, you know, we're living in this world where nothing makes any sense. Everyone's trying a little too hard, and just at the end of the day, we're all kind of miserable.
Oh, yeah.
But then we have a radio show that make our lives better. So
Exactly.
I mean,
This
you know,
is how I relieve my stress.
congratulations.
Thank you.
So that aside, that is the one thing I've decided to actually prepare for the show. So
Oh,
other
wow,
than that,
thank
the
you.
rest of this is winged.
Oh, exactly. As always. Moving on,
I got bored from playing Destiny last week and made a little write-up.
I could tell. It is time to move on from DC Comics and right on over to Marvel Comics.
And how Scooby-Doo is the originator of all things you know about Marvel.
Sure, but I'm talking about Marvel Television. Specifically, you know how Marvel Television had the Netflix shows? They got some shows on Hulu now. They have Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. and all that. They made a really bad Inhuman show. Mm-hmm. Well, see, now Marvel Studios specifically is getting into the TV game with their own shows on Disney+. And very big rumors on the inside front of Marvel Studios and television. Insider Trade says that Marvel Studios is attempting to basically nullify all power at Marvel Television so they can take over every bit of Marvel Television productions made. And I agree with this because Marvel Television is run by idiots who don't know what they're doing. And they're not trying to tie any of their shows into the movies, which obviously doesn't matter as much because I would prefer the shows to be disconnected to a degree. But when they have nothing to do with the films or the world they're in, and they're not really providing anything useful, what's the point of them?
There really is none.
And seeing as how Marvel Studios and Marvel Television do not get along, I think Marvel Studios is attempting to basically liquefy all of the television over into their jurisdiction.
It's a coup.
It is a coup, and I truly, truly hope that maybe, just maybe, it is the truth, because gosh darn it, I would like my Marvel shows to please us Jesus be good.
Yeah, I'd like for them to not be terrible.
Yeah.
I'd like for Marvel not to feel the need to rush them out every year.
Mm-hmm.
Like, you know, with the...
Well, look at...
Okay, look at the Netflix shows. There are obviously some parts that if they decided to take more time, it could honestly have been a lot better, but it's because of the fact they decided to rush it out and then do a mass release on Netflix that it honestly reflects itself in the quality.
I hope...
Iron Fist could have been a lot better if they decided to take a little bit more time off.
And The Defenders was stupid.
It was, but I mean, okay, going back to Iron Fist, there's a lot of potential there. You're talking about like Oriental Chinese art and martial arts and all this cool Jim Jam stuff that we all loved from the Matrix, right? I mean, obviously that's just what comes to my head, but they're too money grubbing. I think is the thing. If they decide to actually take more time and refine their art style a little bit, and then they could actually go and do it.
That's why Marvel Studios, I want them to take over, because what they're doing for their Disney Plus shows is 6-episode miniseries that tie directly into the films and will not be getting a second season. And on top of that, they're getting the same production value and budget that their films get, which is like
Good.
$150 to $250 million budgets.
Good. I'd rather watch 6 episodes of something that's really good than 12 episodes of something that's really mediocre, which is a lot of what like Luke Cage season 2 or whatever it was.
Season 2 is better than season 1, my friend.
Nah, I like season 1 better than season 2. But regardless, I think we can all agree that Iron Fist season 2 is absolute garbage.
Still better than season 1 though.
Yeah, it is, but not by much.
Yeah.
I mean, the entirety. I loved the concept of Iron Fist. I really did. And then they went and ruined it.
Yeah. The only Netflix show that has really any right to come back is Daredevil, because Jessica Jones actually finished, even though it was complete garbage for the 3rd season.
I don't understand why there is even more than one season, because to my knowledge, they wrapped up her whole character arc in 12 episodes.
No.
They solved all of her problems. She got rid of Doctor Who. What's his face?
Kilgrave?
Yeah, they got rid of Kilgrave,
I mean,
and that was
yeah,
half
but
of
she
her
still
problems
has,
right there.
like, she still has so many problems.
Well, yeah, but
Season
I mean,
1 of Jessica Jones is the best thing Marvel Netflix ever did.
It is. That and season 1 of Daredevil I really liked.
And season 1 of Daredevil's second best.
Mm-hmm.
But everything after that is kind of Punisher downfall. Punisher
Season 1 better than 2.
Punisher season 1 is better than 2.
I
but
really-
it's still overrated.
I really liked. They probably could have cut it in half. There was a lot of filler. Honestly, it felt like more like an action movie, which I loved. But there was no
Yeah.
need for it to be like 10, 12 episodes.
This is also true.
I feel it really just degraded from the quality. And honestly, he's in the new Ghost Recon game. He's the
Yeah,
antagonist.
John Bernthal.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That was such a mind blower for me when he takes the mask off in the trailer. I'm like, wait a minute, the Punisher?
Yeah. I mean, he's just going to yell like he doesn't show.
Yeah, but I love him, so I mean,
Oh, yeah.
I'll take it.
Next up, it is time for some very, very, very sad news.
It's a super sad time.
It is sad time. To anyone who has not heard the news yet, famous comedian Rip Taylor has passed away. He is most known for his very flamboyant style and his confetti, but most importantly,
A lot of confetti.
many people know him for being in all 3 Jackass films at the very end each time.
Yep.
You know who Rip Taylor is?
Yeah, I do, because Jackass is probably the one movie I actually really liked when they came out.
Yeah.
I haven't seen them in a while, but I remember watching all 3 and really liking them.
Sadly, he has passed away. Our thoughts, I should say. We are a community here at Sidereel.
Matt
The
and
two
I
of
are
us.
one mind.
Yes, our thoughts and prayers go out to Rip Taylor's friends and family.
Yes, we do.
But to segue out of that, Rip Taylor, surprisingly enough, starred in one Scooby-Doo movie in his life. And that was the next film on our list to review, and that is Scooby-Doo and the Monster of Mexico.
Man, you are on point with these transitions.
I know.
today.
This is like
Did you pre-plan these?
a little.
What is your secret, Matt? Spill the beans.
I don't know. Normally we kind of just wing it, but tonight it's kind of just
The suck to success.
flowing off the tongue. Someone's death helped me flow. God.
Wow, that's pretty dark, Matt.
Oh, I know. Anyway, Scooby-Doo and the Monster of Mexico, the direct sequel to Legend of the Vampire, and the last to use this very specific art style, features Rip Taylor as Mr. Smiley, but we'll get to his character soon. Anyways, Scooby-Doo and the Monster of Mexico finds Fred and his responding to an email from his pen pal in Mexico, Luis, inviting Fred and the gang to come to Veracruz for vacation. So the gang drive down to Mexico, through the border and all that, all the way to the Gulf of Mexico town of Veracruz, in the state of Veracruz.
Now, to preface something real quick,
Yes.
I don't know why, but thinking back on it, because I was on my walk over here contemplating our movie watching experience
Yes.
over these last 2 days. I feel like we nitpicked this one a lot more than the other 5 that we watched.
Did we?
Yeah, like
I have no idea.
exponentially so.
I can believe
I don't
it.
even think we did Wiki Tiki as
much.
hard as this one.
probably.
I think we kept going back to the whole, this isn't actually how Mexico like actually works.
Oh, yeah.
Or how Spanish actually is.
Yeah.
Like
true.
pretty consistently.
Like
which I mean is
like
true.
I said, Matt, the internet will soon learn that Scooby-Doo is just racist. and
Scooby Doo
wrong.
is straight racism.
Oh yeah, totally.
Yeah. But in all
discovered it
seriousness,
first.
this Scooby Doo movie feels like if you took Scooby Doo and the gang and threw them into Dora the Explorer. And
Yeah.
instead of Mexico, it was Dora the Explorer. Because in all honesty, a lot of what was shown I feel really doesn't represent Mexican culture at all.
Probably not.
I mean, they reference Day of the Dead, and that's about it.
And then they also kind of messed up Day of the Dead because I don't think Day of the Dead used pumpkins.
Yeah, they don't use pumpkins. They also had the monster go and like rampage through a graveyard. So I mean,
Yeah.
the war crimes start adding up every time we watch a new Scooby-Doo movie.
Oh, yeah. Anyways, Monster of Mexico was a pretty decent film, but not as good as Legend of the Vampire.
like
It
the
starts
monster.
off fantastic. As I said, they go down to Mexico. They meet up with Luis and his family and all his one kid actually, and all the kids' cousins.
The
His
7 kids in the pool.
Luis's brother, who I forget the name of because I'm a terrible Scooby-Doo fan. I'm a fake fan, Matt.
Fake fan.
Fake
Fake fan. Fake
I know.
fan.
They meet
Scooby does a
his mother,
belly flop into
his
the pool.
wife, and then they meet his sister-in-law Charlene from Mexican Texas,
Welcome to Mexico.
and she is she
She is hot across the border.
Oh yeah,
Hot cross buns.
She's a Tex-Mex, all right. She's the kind of person who just says all the really racist things, but doesn't actually mean them to be racist. That's just how she is. She doesn't call it Spanish. She calls it Mexican. That's the language.
Oh, y'all speaking the Mexican?
And she
Mexican.
says, loco.
Moco Loco.
Yeah. Anyways, Luis's family, they run a hotel in prime real estate of Mexico. And there, the Scooby Gang learn that the El Chupacabra, which is normally a tiny little goat-sucking vampire, is now a gigantic Bigfoot-like creature.
Mind you, this thing sucks blood. At least, like, legends go, right? They constantly refer to it as Bigfoot, and it's, like, 10 feet tall.
Yeah.
When in reality, as, like, mythos goes, it's, like, what, 4 or 5 feet tall?
I found it. His brother's name was Alejo.
Alejo. They really were grasping at straws on these Mexican names.
Probably.
They're like, oh, we can't call him Alejandro.
We can get to the really name grasping once we get to chill out.
Oh, boy.
Anyways, in Monster of Mexico, they discover the Chupacabra is indeed a real monster. And so the gang decide to investigate and learn as much as they can about the Chupacabra, which eventually leads them to a museum of anthropology in Mexico, where somehow...
Wait.
What did,
You forgot something.
what did I forget?
Where was this Museum of Anthropology, Matt?
Oh, yeah. Apparently the Museum of Anthropology was in Mexico City, which is nowhere near Veracruz.
The gang opened a wormhole and teleported through to Mexico City.
Yeah, which is nowhere near Veracruz.
To verify this, Matt went and looked it up on Google Earth.
I did, because I was confused.
I was like, wait a minute. They're like, oh, yeah, it only took a drive overnight. I'm like,
Oh, yeah. Like I said with Chill Out, there's a much worse one than that.
yeah.
Anyways, they go to this museum, and there's this curator who's very clearly from America, and she's like, all right, kids, sacrifice time, and kidnaps Daphne. And the gang then kind of start exploring the museum, and it takes them to this, like, ancient part of the museum that's like recreations of pyramids or real pyramids or whatever it is.
What,
And-
Petra?
Petra?
Is that the thing?
I don't
I
know.
forget.
I don't-
It's the, like, stepped pyramid, right?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Either way,
They ride on
basically, the gang somehow get caught up in these villain scheme who are somehow behind the museum and the Chupacabra, and how they infiltrated the museum, I don't know. But this is the part of the movie that kind of makes me not like it, because this whole museum section is just completely stupid.
It really is.
Because the Chupacabra isn't there. Instead, the gang end up fighting gigantic stone creatures. One that is from Shadow of the Colossus. One is a giant dragon.
An actual stone golem.
One is a flying cougar, and 2 of them are just cougars. And then Scooby and Shaggy fight a robotic parrot named Paco with a racist accent. And
You want to get us some tacos?
somehow the gang defeat them all while running from a bunch of tourists because they're crazy Americans.
Dude, I
And-
was so waiting for Paco to just say, it's Modelo time.
Oh, stop.
It's Modelo time.
I don't like that. Anyways, after that, the gang head back to Veracruz, and they're like, all right, we didn't learn anything.
We learned
And
literally nothing
when they
from
get
this
back to
15 minutes
Veracruz, they're celebrating the Day of the Dead, and Luis's family is mourning the death of his father,
There's pumpkins.
whose spirit then somehow comes out from the grave.
No,
and is like,
out of a cup of or like out of an espresso, wasn't it?
yeah, I don't know.
It was like the coffee they make at the hotel
Yeah.
with the milk in it. The ghost comes out of the froth.
Yes. And he's like, sell the land. We're cursed by the Chupacabra.
Be gone.
And then
thought.
Scooby and his Mexican Chihuahua girlfriend hear
I forgot about her.
a skeleton in a mausoleum who's like
In a very Wizard of
controlling-
Oz-esque fashion.
controlling this fake ghost. And the gang and Luis's family are like, we can see you, right? And he's like, nah, you can't. And then they punch him and unmask him. And it's Rip Taylor, a.k.a. Mr. Smiley, who owns a bunch of amusement parks. And then the Chupacabra comes out of nowhere, and he's like, no, you can't take him. And they beat up the Chupacabra, unveil the Chupacabra, and it's Orlejo's wife, Charlene. Who's,
No, wasn't it like a mask on a mask?
Yeah, it was the museum lady, which is just a mask that Charlene wore, so a mask within a mask. And somehow Charlene was secretly dating Mr. Smiley and faked her love for Alejo so they could take their land, because that's probably the craziest of real estate scheme Scooby-Doo's ever written up. And then they dance, because they solved the mystery of the Chupacabra. Cool. Great film, except for the museum part, and pretty good music too, by the way. Not just the songs that play in the film, but just the background music. It's nice. It's nice Mexican sounding vocals and instrumentals and nice guitar stuff. Yeah, just like that. Either way, at the end of the day, I would give it a solid 6 out of 10 Scooby Snacks.
7 out of 10 for me.
6.5 at the end of the day. And on that note, it is time for us to move on to our next subject. And would you like to know what that subject is, Matt?
Well, enlighten me, dear Matthew.
Did you watch the film by Kenneth Branagh known as Murder on the Orient Express?
No, I haven't, but I've heard great things about it.
It was only okay.
Wait, what?
It was okay.
I heard it was really good.
Nah.
Oh, okay.
This is Kenneth Branagh being Kenneth Branagh.
So it was kind of meh.
It was very
How many
meh.
Scooby Stacks?
Compared to most Scooby-Doo movies, that mystery by Kenneth Branagh, I'd give it a 4 out of 10 Scooby Snacks.
Whoa! That's
out
not
of
very
10.
Scoobtober of you.
What are you talking about?
We can only give Scooby Snack scores to Scooby-Doo movies. You have betrayed my trust.
You're right.
I
Anyways,
tricked you.
Murder on the Orient Express is getting a sequel, specifically another Agatha Christie novel, and it is in the form of Death on the Nile. And Kenneth Branagh will be returning as Hercule Poirot, the main detective in the film,
Cleopatra.
with his crazy mustache.
That sounds pretty cool, though.
Yeah.
Anything Egypt related, I'm all for.
Oh, yeah. And the rest of the cast is pretty great. It includes Gal Gadot, Letitia Wright.
Wait, you want to try that again?
Gal Gadot.
No.
That's how you pronounce her name, Matt.
Godot.
No, it's
The T is silent.
Matt. It's Israeli.
I know, the T is silent. Gal Gadot.
Matt, I'm telling you, it's not silent.
I don't believe you. Anyway, keep going. I'm going to look it up.
Letitia Wright, Armie Hammer, Tom Bateman, Annette Bening, Emma Mackey, Rose Leslie, and Russell Brand.
Russell Brand's in it?
Oh yeah, there's a couple other people, but these are the biggest names in it. So what are you gonna do, right? That's probably the biggest thing Russell Brand has been in since like Get Him to the Greek or something, or that Arthur remake he was in. So yeah, Death on the Nile is coming next year, I believe, and if I were to guess, it'll probably be on par, if not worse, than Murder on the Orient Express, which was not a great film. It is time for our next commercial break, Matt. Are you ready for some Monster of Mexico, some Scottish tunes, and Hawaiian tunes, and Egyptian tunes? No, we're going to skip the Egyptian one. We're just
Wait,
gonna.
what? No, I like the Egyptian one.
You want to do Egyptian? We'll do 4 songs?
Yeah.
All right. We're about to take you on a musical journey along with Scooby-Doo to Mexico, Scotland, Hawaii, and...
Before he does that, though, I'd like to say I stand corrected, and that is Gal Gadot.
I told you.
I mean, you're also talking to the guy who used to pronounce it Vin Diesel, not Vin Diesel. So, I mean...
I worry about you sometimes. You know
Vin
that, right?
Diesel's in The Pacifier.
I worry. I know. That's a good movie.
I love that movie. Can we watch The Pacifier, please?
Yes, please.
I don't know why I like that movie.
I don't know. On
It's
that
really
note,
average.
let's go to Mexico.
Turn up your radio. Viva Mexico. Hey, hey.
falls apart, you gotta keep it together. Wherever you go, I'll be there by your side. I want you to know that we're brothers forever. If the bottom drops out, we'll hang on for the ride. Castles may stand, but they don't last forever. Save what you can, let the rest of it slide. Hang on to your friends and you'll get through whatever. Soon you'll be coming out the other side. Everybody's running, thinking they could just be hot tea. Open your eyes and realize this life is just a crazy mystery. So how can you have any fun? The trouble's got you out on the run, and this world feels like a monster blazing turn. When it all falls apart, we gotta keep it together. Running ahead with the trouble behind. Never will part 'cause we're stronger than ever. And if we get caught, we'll both hold the line. When it all falls apart, we gotta keep it together. Fighting for all of the things we believe. I want you to know that we're brothers forever. When it comes to the end, we'll live brave and free.
I used to tell my friends I'd never leave this place. Always stay right here, tropic breeze upon my face. You wanna come back when the wiki-tiki calls. You wanna come back to the island waterfalls. You wanna come back when the island calls a low Scooby-Doo. You wanna come back where the hummingbirds is high. You wanna come back with a twinkle in your eye. You wanna come back where the surf is getting high, Scooby-Doo. When you see the moon of old Hawaii, like fingers in your hair, the breeze will sigh gently in your ear. The words are clear. Mahalo no ka oi, Scooby-Doo. Come back, come back, come back when the island calls hello, Scooby-Doo. Come back, come back, come back where the surf is getting high, Scooby-Doo. Gently in your ear, the words are clear. Mahalo no ka oi, Scooby-Doo. Then your heart will beat to the island drums. That's when the fun begins. You can snap your feet to the island beat. That's when the fun begins. Gonna have a hooky loud. You wanna come back when the wiki-tiki calls. You wanna come back to the island waterfalls. You wanna come back when the island calls a lower Scooby-Doo. You wanna come back when the hummingbirds is high. You wanna come back with a twinkle in your eye. You wanna come back where the surf is getting high, Scooby-Doo. When you see the moon of old Hawaii, like fingers in your hair, the breeze will sigh gently in your ear. The words are clear. Mahalo no ka oi, Scooby-Doo. Mahalo no ka oi, Scooby-Doo.
Money's rags and riches, hieroglyphics off the wall. There's no strife in the afterlife, unwind and have a ball. Pyramids have power and secrets stashed away. But between the traps and the mummy rats, they can really blow your day. The ancient pharaoh spirit haunts the halls of this cold dark tomb. Our curses hurled through the underworld, coming to seal your doom. Mummies, rags, and riches, oh, they'll give you quite a fright. So enjoy the ride as you run and hide. This joint is out of sight. Mummies, rags, and riches, hieroglyphics off the wall. Hope for luck gives you diving up. There's a way to fool them all. An ancient pharaoh spirit walks among these halls of gloom. Don't miss your chance to see the mummies dance as music fills the tomb. Mummies, rags, and riches better drop out of the fight. Cause mummies, rags, and riches are all that is here tonight.
We're back.
We're
back.
professionals.
We did it. We weren't paying attention. It's
Ah,
okay.
I was spinning around in my chair listening to the Scooby-Doo music.
Yes, we got distracted. I'm sorry. We never said we were professionals, okay? So don't get all riled up, all right?
Now, we have a very special announcement. If any of you were listening in last week, you may remember that we got a alien visit from the light on the other side of the counter.
AKA our good vice president, Johnny Gifford.
Johnny Cash. Johnny
But it's
Cage.
time for us to ask, if you're tuning in, please do call in. Matt, give him the number.
Our number is 978-665-4848. 978-665-4848.
That is 978-665-4848. Please do call in, because we're about to review one of the greatest Scooby-Doo movies ever made. Ever made. And you know what that one is, Matt?
Scooby-Doo and the Loch Ness Monster!
Yeah! And you're tuning in
To Scoobtober!
right here on Fitchburg State Radio, 91.3 WXPL. We are Sidereel, and you're tuning into
Scoobtober. There we go.
Scooby-Doo and the Loch Ness Monster finds the gang in good old Scotland as they go on out to visit
entire review of the
Daphne's
accent.
ancestral castle home, the Blake Clan Castle, where her cousin Shannon lives. Shannon is in charge of running the Highland Games, basically Scotland's Olympic Games, for those who have never heard of it before.
They are the most metal games you have ever
Yes,
seen.
games that include tossing stones, gigantic weights, and throwing gigantic logs of timber.
Hurling logs through windows.
Yes, but the issue that has happened to the games is that they are being haunted by the Loch Ness Monster.
Because coincidentally, this takes place on
Scotland.
the Loch Ness Lake.
In Loch means lake.
Yeah.
Loch Ness, Lake Ness,
Lake
Ness.
Nessie.
Yes. Nessie is very angry because she doesn't like that the games are on her territory. So she's destroying them and haunting them.
Who be throwing logs into my lake?
So the gang decide, okay, Shannon, we'll help you. We'll help you solve the mystery of the Loch.
Shannon, mind you, who's also the voice of Daphne. So
Yes,
that should have
Grey
been
Delisle also voices Shannon, who is basically just Scottish Daphne.
literally with short cut hair.
And, as you will probably notice in the film, it's a good movie. It is the first film to feature the What's New Scooby-Doo art style, and it is probably gonna... It lasts for a good, 7 more movies or so. But
We'll
it's the
see it
start
for a
of a
while.
pretty solid era of films for Scooby. Loch Ness Monster finds the gang haunted by the Loch Ness Monster. As Scooby and Shaggy will tell you, they were chased by the monster late one night as he destroyed the castle. Nessie, she destroyed the whole
in one of the
friggin' castle.
greatest chase sequences in all of
Yes,
Scooby-Doo
my
history.
absolute favorite chase sequence in all the movies and shows of Scooby-Doo is Scooby and Shaggy running from the Loch Ness Monster as she destroys Daphne's ancestral home and destroys the freaking grounds of the Highland Games. It's just so good.
And then Shaggy and Scooby get blamed for it.
Yeah, basically. And, the gang are having enough trouble as is because this old guy, Ian McShane or McLean or whatever.
Ian McGregor.
Yeah, he's like the cool guy that's in charge of the games and is a judge on them. And he's like, Nessie ain't real, and this is stupid. Why'd you destroy my grounds? And he
This is
leaves.
dumb.
And then this one professor, Professor Pembroke, she be like, Nessie be real. And then she gets angry and runs away because she wants to find Nessie herself. And then there's this one guy who runs the hotel in town, and he's like, yeah, my sons, they're going to win the games. And the sons are like, nah, Dad, we just want to play.
And he
we
constantly...
want to play pranks and jokes.
He's like, oh, God, why'd they give me sons?
Why'd they give me twins? Because, that makes sense. But what ended up happening next is important. Because the gang decides they're going to investigate. So, Fred, Daphne, Velma, and Shannon go out on Professor Pembroke's boat, and they explore Loch Ness and try to capture Nessie herself. Cool. And then Scooby and Shaggy take the Mystery Machine and go out to explore other areas that have had a Loch Ness Monster sightings. Now, Scooby and Shaggy end up fighting and running from the Loch Ness Monster as they
have
get...
quite a lot of encounters with Loch Ness.
Which is why this movie's so good, because for... most Scooby-Doo movies, they really don't show the monsters all that much, if you've noticed.
This
but
one
in this
shows
one,
it all the time.
they
and
show
I'm like,
it a pretty good amount, which is why it's so good.
Insert glowing eyes meme here.
Oh, yeah. And you see, they run from it, and they have to run from it in the Mystery Machine. It's just a really good chase scene in the bog that they get stuck in.
The peat
And
bog.
meanwhile, the others are in Loch Ness stranded because Nessie's been attacking them. So somehow Nessie is in two places at once. Ooh.
Spooky! Only here on Scoobtober!
Following that, Scooby and Shaggy somehow jump off a cliff with the Mystery Machine and land on the boat that the others are on. How that happened and the luck behind it, I don't know. But I'm
Matt,
not
I
going to
hope you know
question
they
it.
flew like half a mile out.
Yeah, probably.
Because remember when you told me that Lake Ness isn't actually like a lake, it's more like a small ocean?
It's not. That's not what I said. I said it's deeper than an average lake.
It's also a lot bigger than
It
people
is
think.
bigger than many lakes, but
It's like a Great Lake.
Yeah. Anywho, the gang are like, okay, let's go back to the castle and regroup. They get back, and then they realize, oh man, that Ian guy, he came back with a giant cruiser ship, and he has all this technology.
He came back with an $89 million yacht.
And then the Scooby gang are like, all right, I guess we'll go with you. Then this guy named Del, who's this super chill dude from the 70s, who's not actually from the 70s, he just acts like he is, who is looking for Nessie himself, he's like, guys, let me join you. And they're like, no.
And they're like,
And then he
go
gets
away.
really bummed out. And Del, who's a really cool guy, he's like, y'all are going to regret this. Nessie doesn't want you on her land. And then he runs away in his...
You're messing with her energy, man.
He runs away in his Nessie machine.
A Nessie-mobile.
Nessie-mobile. And so then the gang set out with Ian, and they use his submarine to go into this underwater cavern and find out that it's Nessie's lair. And inside, Nessie, of course, is there, and she attacks them. And they barely escape with their lives. And they damage the submarine, losing all their lights and their sonar camera. So,
Comes
that
into play
sucks.
later.
So they get back and they're safe, and they're like, all right, Ian, take us back to shore. This is dumb. So they take him back, and next thing you know, they find Del sleeping in their Mystery Machine. And they're like, Del, bro, what are you doing here? And he's like, guys, someone stole my van.
I appreciate the effort.
Thank you. I'm kind of losing my voice trying to act like Del. I cannot imitate Jeff Bennett.
man, who took my van?
Jeff Bennett voices Del, and Jeff Bennett is probably one of the most amazing voice actors to ever exist. Just saying.
Let's put Sean Bean in a Scooby-Doo movie.
I would absolutely love that.
Only for him to die. Wait.
What? No.
Sean Bean dies in everything.
Why?
Do you not know that trend?
Yes, I do.
Oh, okay. I was about to say.
I do. I get it. Don't you? I got you.
Got you, homie.
Anyways, the gang then find out that Nessie is trailing right behind them. So, that's cool. But it turns out Nessie is actually Dell's van in disguise. And how they didn't realize that before is beyond me. So they end up sinking his van, and then they're like, okay, let's get it out. And then they use it for their trap. So they trap it up the lake and the castle, and next thing you know, they trap 2 Loch Ness monsters.
Hold on. Remember that one-liner Fred delivered? He's like, oh, yeah, this will be one of the first times we ever lay a trap without something going wrong.
And then it all goes wrong.
And then Ian McGregor's, I know that's the
oh yeah,
boxer
his
or whatever, but
Ian McGregor's crew stages a coup because they're dressed like Star Trek characters, and they're like, we want to catch Nessie, and then they don't because they suck.
And then they don't know how to drive the boat, so they ram it right into the
Yep.
shore.
And then the Scooby Gang captures both monsters, and one of them is literally just made of wood and plywood and a giant turpin or something, and it's the little twin brothers who are like, we just want to prank you.
And then the other is a much more hamster-like device devised by none other than
Professor Pembroke, who wanted to become the Loch Ness Monster to convince Ian McGregor that it's real.
In the twist I hope you realize that Ian McGregor is not his name, and I've just
It's
been
not,
saying
but
it.
we're calling him Ian McGregor.
Do you know who Ian McGregor is?
Yes, the actor.
No,
What?
the fighter.
Oh, yeah. Wait, which Ian am I thinking of?
I don't know.
Oh, I'm thinking of Ewan McGregor.
Oh,
That's
big
what
difference. But
Yeah.
anyway,
Anyways, then they're like, all right, you're stupid. Why would you try to prove that it's a real monster? You're an idiot. Bye-bye.
it's the twist that everyone saw coming.
And then Ian McGregor's like, guys, the photo camera that fell off the sub took pictures of the real monster. So then Dell, Ian McGregor, and Professor Pembroke team up to go find Nessie for real. And the Scooby Gang leave the Highland Games happy as can be, and Scooby sees the real Loch Ness Monster, and he's like, Scooby Dooby Doo, and says bye. And that's the
Scooby
movie.
Dooby Doo?
Yes.
Question mark there.
Scooby-Doo and the Loch Ness Monster is a fantastic film. The animation isn't the greatest, except for the CGI moments with the monster, because it's just a giant cel-shaded thing.
I also think that the establishing shots and the landscapes were really pretty.
Oh, yes.
But that's just me.
It's-
It literally looked like
It's
a
the
painting
same
at some
animation used in What's New Scooby-Doo, the show from the early to mid-2000s, but it is done with more precision and care and much wider shots to show much more beautiful things.
Unlike the
There's-
Mexican one,
yeah.
it really feels like they put a lot of effort and
Oh,
time into their work.
Yes. So in this one, it's definitely showing that the animation might not be as good as the previous films, but it is still good nonetheless, because it features a lot of great details compared to the show. On top of that, it's always great when the gang just goes on these big adventures, and the Loch Ness Monster is one of them, because the monster is always in the film. You're never bored with the film. It's always keeping you on edge to know what's going to happen next. And in general, it's just fun. It is a fantastic film that just really engages you with the world of Scotland. And Scotland. And it really does make you care about what the characters are doing, because they're trying their best to solve this mystery that seems a little out of their league, because now they're dealing with an actual mythical creature that is known all over the world.
The characters actually feel like, characters, unless they're like placeholders or, random Joe Schmo insert culture of whatever country they're in here.
Basically.
And they feel like they're actually like fleshed out with personalities somewhat. I mean, there's only so much you can do in a movie that's an hour and a half, granted,
Oh, yeah.
but
Exactly.
Ian McGregor, Shannon, the professor, they all feel like their own individual
Yes.
characters.
And that is why I give Scooby-Doo and the Loch Ness Monster 10 out of 10 Scooby Snacks.
I give it a 9 out of 10.
9.5 out of 10 Scooby Snacks.
Yes, because nothing is perfect.
No, wow. Yeah, who are you, IE?
Yeah.
Oh.
I forgot about that, honestly.
Yeah.
Just for that, I'm going to give it a 10 out of 10. 'cause
there
I
you
don't-
go.
I don't want to be associated with that.
I
man.
know. I got you to change your vote. And that's how you skin a cat.
Thanks, Democrats.
And as always, we will plug the number again. If you love anything Scooby-Doo and want to tell a story or tell us what your favorite movie or show or
You
episode
can call
from a show
in
is, and that
right
number
now.
that number is 978 978-665-4848. Please call in. We want to hear from you, the people.
Once again, it's 978-665-4848.
Talk about Scooby-Doo with us. We're pretty chill.
Yeah.
Up next, non-Scooby-Doo related news. Matt, you know Jay and Silent Bob's got a new movie coming out soon?
Aw, you betcha.
And you want to know what his movie after that's going to be?
Jay and Silent Bob Strike Back Again, Part 2, The Boogaloo.
No, Clerks 3.
Even better.
Which has been in development, heck, for God knows how long.
10 years.
And he's already written the script. He wrote exactly 3 different versions of the script with different stories because he never truly felt satisfied with any of them. But after this new Jay and Silent Bob, he said, okay, I think I feel confident enough with my new idea for Clerks 3.
Kevin and I should try to do like a Clerks thing for our advanced project.
Oh, yeah, totally.
Do they let you do fiction projects?
Yes.
They're like fictitious?
I guess. I don't know.
Or they only allow like documentary and nonfiction?
I don't know.
You're in the class.
It's advanced cinema production. It has to be fiction.
Okay.
Are you thinking of doc?
Is there an
There's
advanced
two
doc?
different. Yes, there's 2 different classes, Matt.
Oh, I thought there was only one.
No, Matt.
Okay, never mind.
For those who don't know, Matt can be a little confuzzled sometimes.
Matt's a new film major who's only been in this gig for about a year, so
This
I'm still
is-
learning the semantics.
This is true. Up next, Matt, we have another review, and it is of Aloha.
Another
Scooby-Doo.
review of
Another
Scooby-Doo coming straight to you.
Scooby-Doo, Scooby-Dooby-Doo, Scooby-Doo. Did you like that rendition?
Wiki Tiki.
Yes, the villain in this film is called the Wiki Tiki.
The Wiki Tiki and
Which
his
is pretty-
minions.
The Wiki Tikis, I guess? I don't know.
The Wiki
Did they have
Tiki
a name?
Juniors?
I
don't know. Honestly, as a kid, they terrified me, though, because honestly, they are really
If
scary.
you love Aloha Scooby-Doo or just love Hawaii in general, please call in to 978-665-4848. Please call in. We're going to keep plugging this. We're going to get a caller. That is our goal in life. Yes. Aloha Scooby-Doo sees the gang go to Hawaii on an all-expenses-paid vacation because Daphne got a designer job for some clothing company called the Goha Aloha Company. And there they explore Hawaii, experience the nature, and eventually they have to go to this small seaside town to meet the Aloha Goha representative, Jared, who is voiced by none other... Oh, we got a call. We got a call.
We
Matt,
got a call?
Matt, you continue the film. I'm going to answer the call. Continue reviewing. Continue.
Oh, it stopped.
It stopped. Now I'm sad.
That was disappointing.
It was disappointing. Whoever just called, 978-665-4848.
It's Johnny on the road again.
Oh, yeah. If it's Johnny Gifford, our loving vice president, please call back. Anyways,
Love us.
Guess I'll go back to the review. Whoever called, please call again.
Matt's going to keep pushing it.
I'm going to keep pushing it.
to the limit.
978-665-4848. I did it. Anyways, Jared, the Goha Aloha representative, is voiced by none other than Adam West, the original Batman, which
Adam
is pretty
West.
cool. Yeah. So, on top of that, the gang end up meeting a bunch of other people in this small seaside town. Specifically, they meet this guy named Manu Tuiyama, who is a surfer and a well-known... Oh, we got a call. All right, Matt, continue the story.
Okay. We meet a very well-known... Oh. Nothing?
No. That was sad. It buzzed.
We're getting prank calls.
If we're getting prank call, I'm gonna cry. Who doesn't like Scooby-Doo? I'm gonna cry, man.
Oh, boy. All right, continue, Matt.
All right. Anyways, Manu Tuiyama is voiced by Mario Lopez.
The man himself.
Most famous for Saved by the Bell. So that's cool. Oh. Hello? Hi, who is this?
You going to patch him in?
Oh, it's my sister.
It's your sister?
Yeah.
Put her on. Put her on.
Putting her on. I'm gonna put you on live, okay?
Hello? Oh. Well,
She hung up.
did she prank call us 3 times?
I think my sister just prank called us. I'm not gonna pick up next time. Sydney, if you're still listening, go to bed. You're ruining my show. Don't hang up. That's not okay.
Oh.
I wished you a happy birthday, and this is the respect I get. Now I'm sad.
Oh, that's too good.
No, it isn't. Well, I don't even remember where we were with the review, Matt. This is a good movie, too.
It is.
Anyways, Mario Lopez, most famous for Saved by the Bell, voices Manu to...
Oh.
Or if it's Sydney again, I'm going to kill her. Not even ringing anymore. It's ringing. I'm back. Okay, never mind. Hello? Hi. Okay, I'm going to put you on the air. Don't hang up.
We're experiencing technical
Okay.
interests right now.
Do you hear me?
Yeah.
Okay.
Hello.
Hi, Sydney. You're live on
Hi.
air. You're tuning into Sidereel, listening to Scoobtober.
Like
Happy
you said, I can't hear you.
Oh.
Sydney.
Do you have to talk into the phone?
Oh, yeah. No, she has to be in a car. That's what it is. She can't hear me.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Well, no, I mean like talking to the receiver.
Sydney, are you still there?
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay.
Oh, that's what it is. You just have to talk to the receiver.
All right. Sydney.
Uh-huh.
Okay. Do you like Scooby-Doo?
Kind of.
Kinda.
Yeah.
What do you mean kinda?
Because kind of because it's a cartoon.
Yeah, Sydney doesn't like cartoons.
She doesn't like cartoons?
No.
What's wrong with cartoons?
Exactly. She's the complete opposite of me and Haley, my other sister.
I watch some, but Matt doesn't like them.
I know.
Aw,
Aw, it's okay.
that's sad.
It's all we can do. Well, I'll get her to watch Scooby-Doo someday.
Well, I wish you a happy birthday.
Yes, Sydney, I'm
Thank
gonna
you.
hang up on you now, okay?
Okay.
Happy birthday.
Happy birthday.
Say hi to Mommy for me.
Thank you.
Or tell
Okay.
Mommy to call me or something. I don't know. This is the most awkward position. Matt, I don't know if you can describe this to the audience, but this is a very awkward position. I'm holding the phone and
So
stuff.
Matt has to hold the phone in one ear and keep the headphone in the other. That way he can hear the playback and
while
make sure it's
talking
actually
into the
working.
microphone to make sure my voice is heard.
Yeah.
All right. Hanging up the phone now.
Okay.
Well, that was sweet.
That was far more difficult than it should have been. Anywho, back to our review of Aloha Scooby-Doo.
Wiki tiki.
Yes. Anyways, they meet Manu Tuiyama, voiced by Mario Lopez, famous for Saved by the Bell. And that's cool.
He even looks like Mario Lopez. That's
He
the funny
does,
thing.
even though he's Hawaiian.
Yeah.
And we learn that this evil spirit who hates surfing and the surfing competition
no.
going on in the film.
You have to specify something here.
What?
They hate surfing of non-islanders.
Yes, they hate non-islanders, specifically surfing on their land.
This is actually like they straight out call the Americans mainlanders,
Yeah, which is funny.
which is pretty hilarious.
And-
they're like wiki tiki, no like mainlanders.
Yeah.
Kind of feels a
Mm-hmm.
bit
Contrived.
just a tad.
Yeah.
Do Hawaiians
they
actually feel that?
I don't know. I've never been to Hawaii.
We're all Americans, men.
Sure. Anywho, we learn that this evil spirit known as the Wiki-Tiki, the island guardian, is dissatisfied with this surfing competition. And he kidnapped Manu's girlfriend, Snooki.
Snooki.
Voiced by Tia Carrere, who is a native Hawaiian. She is a singer and an actress and a voice actress. Probably most well known for voicing Nani, Lilo's older sister in the Lilo and Stitch series. And she also voiced...
Nani?
Yeah, Nani?
Nani?
She also voiced Fred's mom on Scooby-Doo Mystery Incorporated. So
Did she
that's-
have the Minnesotan accent on there too?
No.
Okay.
I'm pretty sure Crystal Cove is in Maine, by the way.
Okay. I was about to say, I'm like, please tell me that the whole like Midwest accent thing was just a one-off.
I don't know. Anyways, she got kidnapped, and the gang is like, oh, okay, we'll just try to figure out this mystery for you guys so you can have your surfing competition, and you can stop being scared. And they're like, oh, yeah, cool, man, cool. So they team up with Manu Tuiyama, and he's like, so, yeah, basically don't go surfing, or else the Wiki-Tiki's going to get mad at you. So the gang's like, oh, well, I guess we got to go surfing. So the gang surfs, and the Wiki-Tiki comes out of nowhere.
The Wiki Tiki arrives on a stone surfboard.
And he tries to chase the gang on the way.
And that is when you learn that the Wiki Tiki literally looks like a Street Fighter character.
Yes, and I'm sure that he's an amazing surfer because if he's surfing on stone and ain't sinking,
Nope.
he's a pretty cool guy.
Pretty cool dude.
Now, the Wiki Tiki fails at chasing the gang, but
Matt,
they were
I
like,
guess you could say his surfing skill is pretty solid.
That's moving on. Anyways, the gang escapes the Wiki Tiki, and Manu is like, all right, guys, we got to go to Auntie Mahina. She'll know what to do. She's our island sage. And they go to Auntie Mahina, but on the way, Manu gets kidnapped by the Wiki Tiki. And so they get to Auntie Mahina's house, who is also voiced by Grey Delisle, the same voice actress as Daphne, fun fact.
She does a lot of stuff.
Yeah, she's really good at voice actress.
In case you weren't aware, Something Island during that movie, or rather during Loch Ness, was that Delisle is actually the voice of Azula from Avatar: The Last Airbender.
This is true.
Which I was like, wow, Shannon's voice, mind you, the Scottish chick, like just literally sounds like Azula trying to put on a fake accent, and sure enough, that's exactly what it was.
That's what it is.
Exactly what it was.
Now, on top of that, Auntie Mahina's like, go to the volcano and take this spirit
Take this
necklace
spirit
with you,
stone
and it'll
necklace.
protect you.
There's
so
a
the
juice
gang,
inside.
The gang go to the volcano where the Wiki Tiki resides and discover that the lava's all over the place, so that's bad. And on top of that, the Wiki Tiki's minions are everywhere. But turns out they're actually robots, as they discovered.
Beep, boop, boop,
and they're
beep.
being controlled by remote control. And the gang then finds Snooky, who is once again kidnapped by the Wiki Tiki.
No, you have to preface that she literally sees Fred, and then Fred's like, Snooky! And then Snooky's like, ah!
Yeah,
Screams
basically.
and runs off.
That's literally what happens. And then basically the gang discover that somebody's been pouring a bunch of water into the volcano to create steam to make it look like the spirits are angry. So the gang's then like, all right, gang, let's go surf again and draw out the Wiki Tiki. And that's exactly what they did. And then the Wiki Tiki wipes out, basically.
They played the Wiki Tiki like a book.
And the Wiki Tiki, they unmask him, and it turns out it's Manu.
Manu, the man himself.
Who faked his disappearance. And it turns out his girlfriend Snooky's a rocket scientist and controlled the little minions.
Of all things, she turns out to be a rocket scientist who
Yes.
not only wanted to get all the mainlanders off of their island,
Yes.
also burned down like so much stuff.
And basically, their whole idea was that they would pretend to be the Wiki Tiki, scare away all the townspeople, and buy their properties for pennies on the dollar. And then that way they can just own everything, keep
then they
everyone
flip it.
out, and then flip it, and then sell everything, but control everything nonetheless, all the rent and stuff. And that way they could live peacefully and surf for the rest of their days.
Which is funny as a concept, but actually happens in real life.
Yeah.
For instance, surrounding Fitchburg State University is a lot of really rundown houses, most of which is owned by 1 to 2 people, to which I forget their name. However, I did learn this story. They bought all the land around Fitchburg State and have been selling it off to them for a premium for the last 50 years. Mm-hmm. And it's been gouging the school out every time they have to buy more property.
Yes. So, moral of the story, I guess.
Real estate
Don't
sucks.
do things for surfing because that's just weird.
Yeah.
Aloha Scooby-Doo is a pretty good movie. It's fun. Maybe not the greatest mystery, but definitely has some of the prettiest background drawings in the entire film series.
Straight up out of Lilo and Stitch.
Oh, yeah.
Looks really good.
Aside from the CGI dolphins they have in the beginning of the movie during the title sequence,
yeah.
which is just
Oh,
weird.
please do not put CG in your movies if it needs to look like that.
Yeah.
The dolphins really looked like they were just gray things with
But,
dots for eyes.
they were fine.
They tried. It was
two-
2004, 2005.
You got 2004. That was a
2004,
good guess.
yeah.
Good guess.
Okay.
Yeah. So, whatever. It's a fine movie. Definitely not as good as Loch Ness, but nonetheless a fun film with great Hawaiian music in the background to go alongside it, as well as a bunch of surf rock. I give Aloha Scooby-Doo a solid 9 Scooby Snacks out of 10.
I give it a 8.
8.5.
There
That's a
you
good
go.
deal. That's a good score.
8.5.
That's a good score.
That's a passing.
Yeah, it's a passing score.
C's get the grade.
This is true. Anywho, moving along.
We're going to hit him with a commercial break.
Nah, we got one more thing to talk about before commercial break.
Okay.
So you see, Matt, Terminator's got a new movie coming out, right?
Terminator.
Dark Fate. Dark Fate.
Dark Fate.
Now,
Does it actually have Arnold Schwarzenegger on it?
yes.
What's he doing now that he isn't governor?
Trying to get back into acting.
Okay.
Yeah. So, basically, Terminator has a new movie coming out, but that's not what we're specifically talking about. See,
what timeline does it follow?
Their own.
Is
I
it
guess.
Genesis?
I don't fucking.
They making another one?
Commercial break. You know, it happens sometimes. You got me heated.
Only here at Scoobtober.
Yep. Scoobtober. Hello?
When trouble swings your way, they say to look before you leap. But he who hesitates is lost, so I'll just dive in deep. I pay the piper for the tune, and if I'm led astray, then with a helping hand or two, I will, there is a way. That's the way we go as the river flows, my friend. Two heads to and fro are better than one. Yeah, that's the way we go, and I'll be with you till the end. The bigger they are, the harder they fall, and we have just begun. Hey na na, hey na na na, hey na 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 na, hey na na na, hey na na. The storm has shown its face to you today, so don't delay. It's time for hiding and dividing from the fury and the sound. And cutting like a knife, the wind is howling, and the growling of the thunder's there to plunder and to swallow up the ground. Winds will blow, the seas will swell and overflow. So fare ye well and away, hey up and all surround. Blow ye winds, for we are bound. Away, hey up before the sound. Yo hi ho and blow me down. The storm is set in sight on you today, so come what may, you'll take your chances in advances there upon you to remain. It stirs and swells and hovers, so try to hide and cover. There's a patch upon the eye of the hurricane. And away, hey up and all surround. Blow ye winds, for we are bound. Away, hey up before the sound. Yo hi ho and blow me down.
You run on tracks, out down the back, they're coming after you. Nowhere to hide when you're on this ride. Kick back and enjoy the view. You turn around and run behind, and then in front of you. Just ride the tide, eyes open wide. The nightmare's coming true. Just feel the beat and stop your feet. There's nothing in your way. On track to win, but you pull the pin, and it really blows your day. You make the switch, but you hit a glitch, and now you're off the track. One wrong turn and off you go. Somehow deep inside you know you're never coming back.
Hit it.
Hit it.
Hit it.
The need for blood is constant. From ancient victims or from accident. It's already messed up. From accident victims and premature babies to cancer patients and those with blood disorders, your single blood donation to the American Red Cross can help save up to 3 lives. Be a hero. Donate blood. Visit redcrossblood.org to schedule your appointment.
Moral of the story from our preemptive commercial break, Gail Ann Hurd, the original co-writer of the original Terminator, is suing to get a 50-50 stake in the Terminator series, shared with James Cameron.
Cameron Diaz.
Yeah, Cameron Diaz. And basically, if she gets it, she can basically make it so that Terminator movies are actually good again. So good luck to her.
Make Terminator great again.
Yeah, make Terminator great again. All right, Matt, we're back.
Are we?
We're like, we're never going to be back after that.
Woo!
It's okay. A certain somebody dropped a F-bomb before, and it wasn't me.
And it wasn't me.
It was the person you replaced.
Yeah.
And then that person blamed it on me.
Shh, we're not pointing fingers.
I just did.
That's okay.
I'll say that whenever
We're on the Eminem show now.
I'll
here,
say
Matt.
it
You're
whenever.
safe.
I'll say it whenever I'd want.
Our families is listening.
We've moved on from those dark ages
Those dark
to
times.
Scooby-Doo in Where's My Mummy?
I actually really liked this movie.
It was pretty good.
It was actually really fun and honestly had a twist. I honestly thought it was going to be the prince who was the bad guy at the end.
Hang
But
on.
anyway, we'll go through the motions here.
Yes. So the gang decide to go surprise Velma, who is on an archaeological dig in Egypt at the Sphinx. And they discover an ancient tomb belonging to Cleopatra, which has a curse on it. And basically, the gang arrive, and then a bunch of treasure hunters arrive, and they blow apart the tomb, and the curse is unleashed. And Velma's dig partner, Omar, is turned to stone. And then Velma is turned to stone. And the gang is like, oh no, we've waken up, specifically the treasure hunters, have woken up the army of the living dead.
Laura Croft specifically.
Yes, the army of the living dead has become arisen in mummy form, led by a general and Cleopatra. And along the way, the gang must team up with a variety of people, including
But
Omar's...
not limited to the cult to which Matt pertains
hang
to.
on. We're not there yet. We're not there yet.
We're getting there.
Specifically, Omar's uncle, Triple A.
Triple A.
Triple A, voiced by the amazing Oded Fair, most known for the Mummy movies. On top of that, this film has a couple other famous voices. The lead treasure hunter, Amelia von Butch, is voiced by none other than Christine Baranski, famous actress. Ron Perlman is also in this film. He voices Hotep, the leader of a cult, which we will explain very soon. That's cool. Anyways, the Scooby Gang gets split up in the underground of the Sphinx, sadly. And basically, Scooby and Shaggy end up arriving in this ancient lost city that is run by this guy named Hotep, who is voiced by Ron Perlman, the leader of this cult. And a bunch of people live there from all over the world who have decided to abstain from Wi-Fi and television and video games and all that to live the ancient way of the Egyptians, because that is racist or something. I don't know. It's a bunch of white people.
It literally is a bunch of white people.
And they believe in a god known as a Scoobus.
All hail a Scoobus.
And this is the cult I personally pertain to as a
Matt
Scoobian.
is one of the founding members of
yes,
the cult of the
course.
Scoobus.
And as one could expect, the cult believes Scooby to be a god and Shaggy his loyal servant.
His loyal handmaiden.
But Hotep, it turns out, is, of all people, a con man who is attempting to basically steal from these people and from the Nile River and a bunch of ancient treasures. So he creates this giant scorpion robot to kill Scooby and Shaggy, but Shaggy and Scooby end up destroying the robot. And then they arrest Hotep. And then Fred and Daphne and AAA arrive, and they're like, hey guys, you're okay. And they're like, yeah, all right, let's go back to the temple. They get back to the temple, and they find Cleopatra about to, destroy the treasure hunters. And they're like, stop, we have an army, and it's the army of Scoobians. And the Scoobians and the mummies fight, and the Scoobians win. And then the treasure hunter lady accidentally destroys a room, and all the treasure is flowed into the Nile River. And yeah, that's cool. And then they stop Cleopatra. And turns out the person behind all of this was Velma.
Velma was behind it all along, which honestly I wasn't expecting. I kind of just expected her to get kidnapped or something, and I expected the prince to just be, the bad guy, the perpetual bad guy. I didn't actually anticipate Velma being in on the whole scheme the whole entire time.
Velma led basically a secret job against the treasure hunters because they discovered the tomb, and they're like, okay, our sources say these treasure hunters, these evil people are going to come, so let's get them good. So Velma creates a plan to basically create the Curse of Cleopatra, which includes real locusts, by the way, which Velma breeded
And
herself.
somehow knowing that the dude was going to dam up the Nile River.
Yeah. And somehow, in the end, it all worked out and they stopped the treasure hunters. But the Scooby Gang was a little hurt that Velma would betray them like that, but they forgave her.
Why you got to do me like that?
In the end, they saved the day. The treasure was returned to Egypt and the people and the whatnot. And all's well that ends well. Hooray!
Hooray!
Scooby-Doo in Where's My Mommy is a pretty good film. I used to hate it as a kid because Velma was behind it all, but now I'm like, that's pretty smart.
I thought it was very fun. It had a very solid runtime. I don't think there was much wasted time. What time that they did decide to end up using was very well executed.
Mm-hmm.
It ended up being more of a comedy with some dark elements rather than anything else. But I mean, that's most Scooby-Doo movies nowadays anyway.
Oh, yes.
I'm going to have to give it, Matt, a solid 8 Scooby Snacks.
I would
10.
also give it a solid 8 Scooby Snacks.
Rounding out for a 8 Scooby Snack average.
Yes, and it is well deserving of it. Where's My Mommy is an interesting film, and I would recommend you all check it out.
It's my second favorite after Loch Ness.
Loch
But
Ness
of
is your
course,
favorite?
Zombie Island is the number 0.
No, numbers. Where's Witch's Ghost and all that?
Number 3.
Interesting. Anyways,
Although, I mean, it honestly depends on the time of year. Because if you tell me to watch Witch's Ghost in, like, March, I'll be like, eh. You tell me to watch around October, I'm like, eh. Pretty much.
yeah. Up next in news, a new Jason Bourne movie is coming along.
Thank God. I love Matt Damon.
And it is going to tie directly into the Jason Bourne spin-off show coming to USA or TNT, whichever one it is.
Jesus Christ. It's Jason
Specifically,
Bourne.
it is called Treadstone, and it is an expansion on the Bourne universe.
Do you know what Treadstone is?
It's the people that made him, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, cool.
And-
You know your Jason Bourne
Yeah.
lore.
Yeah, and so basically this film will tie directly into the show. The show still has no release date, but it has been in development for about, I believe after the last Jason Bourne movie came out. And the producer on the show is a producer on this film, which could be good, could be bad.
It's kind of a coin flip.
It depends on if the show will actually be good, for one, and two, it's a completely different set of people making the film.
Also, can I just say something real quick? Jason Bourne. Okay, my mom has 2 favorite forms of entertainment when I was growing up.
Yes.
One of which was Jason Bourne.
Uh-huh.
The other was Prison Break.
I never watched Prison Break.
Literally, that was the one show she would kick my sister and me off of the TV and be like, "It's my time to watch TV." at 8 o'clock on Wednesday nights was to watch Prison Break with my dad. Now she just watches HGTV and TLC.
That's like my mom.
I know. Are all moms do they all eventually say, "Yeah, I want to watch The Property Brothers"?
No, I think at a certain point they stop caring because
That
the
too.
kids are gone and they're like, okay,
I can't watch Martha
I can
Stewart
relax.
anymore.
Anyways,
Anywho,
it is time for our next commercial break.
hit him with it.
Hit 'em with it. Are you ready for a song from my least favorite Scooby-Doo movie ever made?
Hit him with it.
Hitting with...
Hit it.
Dig that sound from underground. They're getting down in Goblin Town. Where wrong is right, it's sad to say. We sleep all day and dance all night.
Goblin Oogie Boogie,
It's the biggest night of the year.
Goblin Oogie Boogie,
Baby, Halloween is here. Goblin Oogie Boogie. Oogie Boogie Woogie. Zippity zap pow wow. Boogie dabba dabba wow. Tonight you're gonna get your chance to get out on the floor and dance. The beat's gonna get ya. Gotta say glad. We do our voodoo on Halloween night.
as the
Yeah.
bass is slapping time. You're gonna flip when you hear the rhyme. Flap your wings and stamp your feet. In your bones you can feel the beat.
no clue we won't look into to solve the mystery. A spooky cave, a ghoul attack. They're no match for some Scooby snacks. Yeah, they dig it, dig it, dig it. Scooby-Doo. Ba 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 ba. Ba 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 ba. The gang's all here, they're on the case, and there's no ghost that they wouldn't face. 'Cause they dig it, dig it, dig it. Scooby-Doo.
That was songs from Scooby-Doo and the Goblin King and Scooby-Doo Legend of the Phantosaur. And you can be darn sure I will be playing that opening song, The Gang's All Here, from Legend of the Phantosaur again, because it's really good. Really good. Really good. Really good. Really good.
Really good.
Oh, somebody's calling.
Pick it up.
Hooray! Never mind. They hung up. Why? Why would they toy with my emotions like that? I even hit the mic for them. I was in such a rush.
Oh no!
Oh no!
Please call back whoever you were.
Yes,
We'd love
please
to hear
don't
from
don't mess with my emotions like that. I'm very emotional. I'll get my feelings hurt.
you. You get them right in the heebie-jeebies.
Anyways, time for our next movie review. It's time for Pirates Ahoy! Scooby-Doo Pirates Ahoy to be precise. Fred's parents.
Had a lot of potential going into it. Not gonna lie. Bermuda Triangle, pirates, a lot of spooky stuff you could do with that. Ended up kind of being a bit of a flop.
Yeah, it's kind of
But give him a quick rundown.
Yeah,
real
so
brief.
Fred's parents, his dad Skip, voiced by the amazing famous comedian Tim Conway, and his mom, voiced by Edie McClurg, who is in a bunch of movies from back in the day, decide to take their good old son and his friends on a mystery cruise where they solve all the mysteries very quickly. And then the cruise picks up a shipwrecked man who was like, ghost pirates took over my boat and stole my painting. And they're like, huh, you drank too much seawater, pal. You're a little crazy. Here, have hot cocoa. And then later that night, they're at a show with a hypnotist named Mr. Mysterio. I think Marvel ripped Scooby-Doo off or something. I don't know, man.
I don't know.
I don't
We'll
know.
get to that a little later, though.
Yes. Anywho, while the show's going on, the ghost pirates show up, and the gang and Fred's dad and Rupert, the shipwrecked man, run from the ghosts while the rest of the people on the boat disappear. So basically, then they get shipwrecked, and they end up finding this island with the ghosts on it. And they discover this like hangar with a bunch of boats in it and stuff. It's weird. And, meanwhile, they're wondering, all right, let's think of who could be behind it. There's the ship captain who was in charge of all the mysteries on the boat, along with his assistant.
Who has been pulling pranks all
Yes.
day.
There's Mr. Mysterio, but what could he do? And then there's the billionaire, played by Ron Perlman, a.k.a.
Ron Perlman.
Hellboy. Biff Wellington, played by Ron Perlman.
Play on Beef Wellington.
And, they're like, okay, who could it be? The Captain Crothers of the Mystery Cruise, played by Arsenio Hall, of all people.
Of all people.
His assistant, Sunny St. Cloud, played by Kathy Nejimy, who is very in tune with October because, Hocus Pocus. Anyways, they eventually get captured by the pirates, and, they get taken to the center of the Bermuda Triangle, where they discover the cause of the triangle is a giant meteorite made of pure gold.
Giant cheese puff.
And then they discover that the entire pirate crew is just the people from the cruise ship, including Fred's mom, who disappeared. And they discover, you were all just hypnotized by
You've
Mr.
all been hypnotized
Mysterio,
by Mr. Mysterio.
who was behind this all along. And the rich guy, who was just crazy.
Who was absolutely insane and thought that he was the reincarnated spirit of a long-lost pirate named
AKA
Skunkbeard.
Yeah, Captain Skunkbeard. Anyways, they stop him. They go back on they turn the ghost pirate ship into the cruise ship. It's a whole thing.
The entire island surrounding the meteor sinks.
Yeah, the meteor ends up causing waves and stuff, because that makes complete sense.
Yep.
And they kind of just go, all right, put it back. And they put it back. And that's a lot of money gone to the bottom of the ocean.
Matt,
And-
you're talking about a meteor made of solid gold, and the thing was about the size of a small room.
Yeah, it's, the size of a meteor.
Yeah, well, most meteors are actually a lot smaller than that because they break up in the atmosphere
But this one didn't.
because it's gold.
Mm-hmm.
Surprise, surprise.
It would have melted, actually.
It would have.
Yeah.
Oh, actually, I don't know. What's the melting point on gold?
Pretty high, but the rate at which you come back in through the atmosphere is
Would
really,
probably
really
be pretty hot. So
Yeah. Anyways,
In any case,
the Scooby Gang solved the mystery, of course. And, this is a fun movie for sure because they're at sea and the beginning is pretty fun because it's just them messing around on the cruise ship, having their vacation fun. And, they interact with the crew and the other passengers on the ship a lot, which is pretty funny. And after all that, the ghost pirates kind of come along and the mystery kind of starts back up again. And it kind of just goes down from there, I think, to be honest.
yeah. I mean, honestly, it also might just be coupled with the fact that we're watching 31 Scooby-Doo movies this month.
Yes, this is also true.
It probably would stand up pretty well on its own, but I mean,
And-
honestly, we're comparing it to things like Zombie Island and
Witch's Ghost
Witch's
and Loch
Ghost
Ness
and Loch Ness
Monster.
Monster and Where's My Mummy, and it's like,
Yeah, it doesn't hold up quite as well.
it's just not the
It's-
same caliber to which the others are obviously created with. And I mean, whatever. It works, but it just feels like it's a little too cookie cutter for my taste.
Yeah, still a fun movie, still a good movie, but compared to others, it's not as
It just
great.
doesn't do anything to define itself from
Yes.
like a literal episode of Scooby-Doo that takes 30 minutes, and instead this runtime is an hour and a half.
Oh yeah, the original show, which had an episode with Redbeard, was better than this movie.
No, literally.
Yes. Overall, I think it's a fine film. It's average at best, so I give it a solid 7 out of 10 Scooby Snacks.
I'm gonna hit it with the 6.5.
So 6.75
Yep.
Scooby Snacks?
Yep. Repeating.
All right. Fair enough. And that's how you rate stuff on IGN. Mm-hmm. Yeah. All right. It is time for our last review of the night. We're sorry if we're rushing through these a little. We just got to get them all out. 7 a week. It's just kind of
7
how
a
we
week.
got to
We got
do
2
it.
hours to do it.
Oh, yeah. It's just...
On top of other news, because obviously the world's not going to stop for us to review 31 Scooby-Doo movies.
No, it is not. Unless, we get locked in and this becomes our full-time position or something, which will never happen.
Never happen.
Never happen.
Hey Connor, you want to start paying me? I'll give you my W-2.
I love you, Connor.
We love you.
You're my president, not Matt Parise. Only WXPL people will get that joke. Anyways, I will plug the number one more time, though, Matt.
And I'm going to hit him with it. It's 978-665-4848. 978-665-4848.
Yes, if you would like to call in, it is 978-665-4848. Please call in and tell us what your favorite Scooby-Doo memory is.
Come on down. It will be great. 978-665-7438. No, that's not.
What was that for? Was that for like a carpeting company in your town?
Stanley Steamers makes your home cleaner.
I was close. Anyways, the final film of tonight, and I think the last truly good Scooby-Doo movie.
Give him the rundown, Matt.
Chill Out Scooby-Doo finds the gang going to the Himalayas because Scooby and Shaggy got on the wrong
Which
plane.
they previously joked about on the last movie.
Yes,
by the way.
they actually... Oh, no, stop. They actually referenced the Himalayas in the previous film, which was a, nod to the next film. Similarly, in Pirates Ahoy, they used a lot of costumes from classic Scooby-Doo, and they featured a lot of character designs from What's New Scooby-Doo, because reused character models and whatnot. But that's fine. It's whatever. Chill Out Scooby-Doo sees the gang go into the Himalayas, where the Abominable Snowman's been acting up lately.
Been having a real tuss.
Yeah, so, Scooby and Shaggy team up with this hunter guy named Alphonse Lafleur, and this Sherpa guy named Pemba Sherpa.
Pemba Sherpa.
It's not so much the first name, it's the fact that he's a Sherpa and his last name is Sherpa.
Sherpa.
And his little
Getting real creative.
sister Minga Sherpa, along with Professor Jeffries, who is voiced by none other than Alfred Molina, aka Doc Ock from Spider-Man 2. So that's a great voice actor to get. Like, holy crap. He's a great actor.
I remember the last time I heard the words Alfred Molina. It was on the ASDF collection.
What's
or
that?
the Laser Collection on YouTube. You remember that?
No, I don't.
Dr. Octagonopus Bar.
no idea.
That was middle school. That was a long time ago.
I don't know.
Woo!
You might be a little more well versed in the internet than I am.
I mean,
Anyways,
I'm on all day.
Scooby, Shaggy, and the other four go up the mountain, and a snowstorm hits them, so they have to make camp. And basically, the abominable snowman shows up, and Minga has disappeared. Professor Jeffries has disappeared. Pemba gets trapped in a trap set by Alphonse, and Alphonse gets trapped by his other traps. And basically, Scooby and Shaggy run away from the abominable snowman and end up getting trapped in a bunch of snow. But they're saved by their good friend Del from Loch Ness Monster,
Wow.
who is taking up a job as the weatherman / radio jockey up in the radio station on the Himalayas, where he is now using it as a job to get paid and in his spare time search for proof of the abominable snowman. So, even though he gave up on the Loch Ness Monster, he found a new hobby. Meanwhile, Fred, Daphne, and Velma are driving all the way from Paris to Nepal, and they do
That
it.
sounds like fun.
They do it within the span of like a day or two.
I'm telling you, it's wormhole technology.
I know, because basically they drove through Mongolia to do it. I know that much. So they basically went up from France, went through northern Europe and Russia, down through Mongolia and China,
That's
and
still
got
not enough
to
time, though.
Tibet and the Himalayas, because that makes sense. Meanwhile, Scooby and Shaggy hang out with Del, and by that time the others have already arrived and they've rescued Pemba. So Del's like, all right, I'm going to look for the others. Scooby and Shaggy are like, cool, we'll be radio jockeys. And then the abominable snowman shows up and destroys the station. And then they run away and end up discovering Shangri-La. Cool.
You ever just?
Discover an ancient city? I discovered Atlantis. Did you know that?
Oh.
Yeah, I did.
When did that happen?
About sophomore year of high school.
Is that how you get out your aquatic powers?
Yes, I'm Aquaman.
Oh.
The real Aquaman.
Okay.
I'm Namor.
That gives more context as you're a mortal figure.
Yes, I know. Anyways, the rest of the gang then split off to search for Scooby and Shaggy, and they end up discovering a cave system where Scooby and Shaggy are, which connects to Shangri-La. And they end up discovering Professor Jeffries mining a bunch of ancient crystals that have an unknown property to them. And in doing so, he's like, nah, you can't take my crystals. So he blows the place up with TNT, because that makes sense. And the gang and the Abominable Snowman barely get out with their lives. Because, Professor Jeffries wasn't the Abominable Snowman, Matt. Wow. And so then the gang is like, oh, no, it wasn't him. Let's set a trap for the Abominable Snowman. And they do. And then they find it and catch it. And then it's like, it was Minga Pemba, Sherpa's sister all along.
The whole time.
And the reason she did it was because she wanted to keep Del at the radio station. She wanted to keep him locked in so he could keep making sweet tunes for her to listen to because she was his #1 fan. One of the more strange reasons to be a monster in Scooby-Doo, for sure.
Yeah.
But the most interesting thing about this film that nobody ever talks about, there is a character in the film named the High Lama. Like a Dalai Lama, basically, but he's a High Lama, basically a monk priest. Mm-hmm. And he's voiced by the amazing James Hong, a fantastic actor, most known for playing Kung Fu Panda's dad.
Mm-hmm.
And James Hong's character, the High Lama, when we first meet him, he's an old man. And he's like, you can't, go after these crystals. They're sacred to the people. Well, when Scooby and Shaggy discover Shangri-La, they run into the High Lama, but his staff with a crystal and it's glowing, and he becomes young again. So it's never explained, but the crystals in the film turn you into a younger version of yourself. Yeah, so that was a
You ever just?
that was a subplot that just was never explained.
They'll come
whatsoever.
back to it in
Yeah,
the
I
Yeti
didn't-
2.
I didn't realize it until we watched it, Matt.
And
so
Matt, I'm gonna hit you with a little bit of facts.
go for it.
This movie was actually dedicated to someone. Did you know that?
Yeah, Iwao Takamoto.
Yes, he
Takamoto.
died during the making of this film.
Yep.
With a release date on
One
DVD
of
of September the 4th.
original creators of Scooby-Doo and one of the original character designers. He passed away before this film was finished.
Also, this movie was produced by Warner Brothers, although it has the Hanna-Barbera logo at the movie's ending.
Yeah, because Hanna-Barbera is a subsidiary of Warner Bros.
Oh,
Yeah,
well, more you know.
that's why they make all the Scooby-Doo Yogi Bear stuff.
Oh.
Yes.
In any case, though,
So,
yes, this movie was
Chill
indeed
Out-
dedicated to someone.
Chill Out Scooby-Doo then ends on the joke of, okay, now Fred got on the wrong plane, and now he's stuck in the Amazon. He's probably going to die. So let's drive to the Amazon, even though we're on the other side of the world.
Nice.
So that's cool. So Chill Out Scooby-Doo is a very good movie. It has great pacing, great characters on the side. Overall, I'd give it a solid 9 out of 10 Scooby Snacks.
8 out of 10.
8 out of 10. 8.5. 8.5. 8.5.
10 out of 10.
Oh.
11 out of 10.
Stop. Anyways, that is all we have for today, ladies and germs.
Is it?
Yeah, it's all we have.
Oh.
All we have.
Okay.
Yeah, I know.
You sure there's nothing else?
No, nothing else, unless you have anything to say.
I just want to thank all of our wonderful listeners tonight.
Yes. And on the off chance, if you want to try to call in one last time, the number is 978-665-4848. 978
665-4848.
978-665-4848.
There we go.
Yes.
No, wait, let's try this. You do every other number. 9,
7,
8,
6,
6,
5,
4,
8,
4,
8.
There we go.
All right.
All right, cool.
And now we have 4 minutes left on our showtime, so I got one less thing to talk about.
Talk about it.
So,
Run it down.
do you know that there's a new Batman movie coming out?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I
Cool.
mean, there's always going to be a new one,
Oh,
isn't
yeah.
there?
Specifically, Robin has yet to be introduced in these new Batman and DCEU movies.
So I wonder...
Are they going to do Robin?
Could
We don't
be.
know, but big-time new actor on the scene,
Big-time
Timothée Chalamet, most known for being in that movie he was nominated for an Oscar in where he had a gay kiss with Armie Hammer that I'm completely blanking on the name of.
No idea.
There you
Murder on the Oriental Express.
Hang on, now I gotta look it up. Anyways, he was also in Lady Bird, and he's in a new movie about King James. Basically, he's a very serious actor, and he's like our age, and he's like basically Joaquin Phoenix levels of serious. Yeah. So he wants to play Robin, which is completely out of his character basis for what we've seen of him so far, which is strange because he's basically only done serious roles. Oh, Call Me by Your Name, that's what he was in. That he's nominated for the Oscar in. So for some reason, this very serious actor wants to be Robin, which I hope he understands means lots of contracts and many years of playing the part.
Many, many, many years.
So, he's a great actor. Good luck to him. He'll probably be a really good Tim Drake because that's the most serious Robin ever made. I wish him the best of luck. And on that note, I wish everybody a wonderful evening.
We have reached the end of Sidereel.
And you've been tuning into
Scoobtober.
Next week, we return with my least favorite Scooby-Doo movie ever made, Scooby-Doo and the Goblin King, followed by Scooby-Doo and Samurai Sword.
I love that.
The last two films of the What's New era, followed by the current era, which starts with a pretty good movie, Scooby-Doo, Abracadabra Doo.
21 more to go, folks.
We are getting there, people.
We're getting there.
We're getting there.
7 at a time.
It's a process.
It's beginning to look a
We
lot.
thank you all for tuning in. Thank you so much to tuning in to Sidereel right here on Fitchburg State Radio, WXPL 91.3. Fitchburg State Radio, because I have to
And
say it again.
Take it easy, folks.
And taking it easy, you shall. Good night, everybody,
Good night.
and have a wonderful Scoobtober. Thank you.